right, I'm Jeff.
Jeff, I'm Nick.
Yeah, Nick. Okay. So yeah. So you started to tell me you've been thinking about it lately, or you?
Well, I always thought about it because I was raised right here at St. Barb's. I went to Catholic school pretty much my whole life, high school, Catholic school.
Yeah.
Over time, kind of when you're younger, when you get out into the world, you meet people from different backgrounds more than where you're like in the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So as I get out into the world, you meet different people. Even in the park here, with the Asian people that are in the park, and
Yeah.
everyone has like their own beliefs.
Yeah.
So, which one is real? I mean, who's to say?
That is a good question.
You have some people that don't believe in any God or
Right.
are atheists. So,
Yeah.
is there anything for them after life? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Let me ask you this, Nick.
Yeah.
As you see all these different people, have you gotten in conversations with them about it, or are you just assuming they have different beliefs, or what?
Well, I just, we talk about it, because honestly, I question them. Even when I was younger, I remember being in a religion class or whatever,
Yeah.
and I probably wouldn't say it out loud more.
Right.
But now that I'm older, I wish I did, and
Yeah.
speak up and ask questions, because I think that's the most important thing in what you can do is,
Did you happen to go to a Catholic high school?
yeah,
De La Salle, or?
yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure they have,
Theology. And
like, they teach world religions.
Well,
Right?
see, so probably one of my more intriguing teachers that I've ever had was my theology teacher. I want to say it was probably junior year.
Yeah.
Um,
I've heard a lot of people say this. That's why I bring up De La Salle.
Mr. McCabe was his name. I
Yeah.
heard he's passed away
Oh.
within some years.
Yeah.
But just the way his mind worked,
Yeah.
because he had the curriculum, of course. They had to teach the book that they pass out, and you have to buy first,
Yeah.
obviously. But then everything in his class where he really based your grade was in your notebook. He would put, the book on the board.
Yeah.
You'd have to write down whatever he would have on the board. But then to the left of the ledger, he would always want you to ask questions.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, it didn't have to have anything to do. And that's really what he based your grade on, really, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to,
That's
bring
good.
out something more,
Yeah.
where you don't realize it at the time. A lot of
Yeah.
people think, like, man, this guy's strange. This guy's a character.
I mean, I'm a teacher myself,
Yeah.
high school teacher.
Okay.
And I can tell that students are engaged and thinking about it by the level of questions they're asking, or if they're asking questions at all,
Right.
really.
If they're not interested, they're just going to,
Yeah.
what time is I'm running to get
Yeah.
out of here? And that's what,
Yeah.
being back at school, that's mostly how now that I'm older, I wish I
Had asked
did
more
it
questions.
different.
Yeah.
Well, always ask questions, but religion, very, I believe there's a God. I believe there's a higher power.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what's correct, because it's like, what do you believe? So you believe, if I'm Catholic and believe, in Jesus and everything, and
Yeah.
but other religions don't. So it's
Right.
like, are they wrong for that?
Right.
And then you look at like Jesus and like Egypt and all that, and how a lot of religions are copied, and
Yeah,
start doing your homework about Horus.
There's actually a lot of, like, I'm sure you've seen them, like, videos out there, YouTube, like History Channel, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
hidden life of Jesus, everyone's
Yeah.
interested in that.
and
Yeah.
but like even I used to wear like a cross with Jesus on there, a gold cross, and like honestly the Jesus fell off of it.
Okay.
But then I found out that like selling, Jesus on a cross selling jewelry is like blasphemy also.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe there's a reason why that happened. So
be.
a lot of I question this. That's why I'm
Yeah.
open to when you ask me, because I actually think of this, because
Yeah.
like Buddhists, you're reincarnated.
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say? I mean, I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if
feel
you're a
like,
lover of life, why wouldn't
exactly.
you want
and that's where
life?
I got away from it a little bit before, but it's like whatever you put out there, you're going to get back in the world.
Yeah.
So that's why I come out here and clean up the park on my own time.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah, every day I'm out here,
That's nice.
So, but I meet nice people every day.
Leave the world better than when you.
Yeah, make a difference.
Yeah.
Not everything's money. I mean, of course, we need money to survive, pay bills and everything, but I feel
Yeah.
like so many people like make that their worry.
Yeah.
Where I feel like whenever you it's like a woman. If you chase a woman, keep chasing her, odds are you're going to push her away. But as soon as you are reserved and
Yeah.
play a little hard to get on your end, then they're like, where's he at?
Do you think so? You do believe in God? You believe God is the same way? Should we be chasing after God, or should we kind of do our own thing and expect God to chase us?
I think during life, everything changes. Your body changes every 7 years. Your mind definitely should change.
Yeah.
You should always grow.
Yeah.
It's just like having a plant. some people water it every day, and some people water it once a week, so it's going to grow at a different pace, you know. So we're all in this, like, we're all growing at a different pace, you know.
Yeah.
I have friends that are older than me, and I still can't get it into their brain when I try to, how my mind's evolved in, like, I'd say the last decade or so, you know.
Feel like you've made some.
Oh,
good,
I
good
know I've made
insights and
progress.
stuff?
Yeah, because just the way I live my life and the way I look at everything is different, you know.
Yeah.
And definitely not trying to be judgmental like I used to be, like you judge people, whatever. It's like, you know.
I think we can be discerning. I don't
Yeah.
know, it's a better word, but like you could look at someone's life and say, you know what, I think they're in a kind of a rut. You know,
For sure.
they're not learning anything new. They're not trying anything new.
For sure.
We
And I
don't
think
have to like
a lot of
beat
it
them
has
over
to
the
do
head with it, but
with all
you
the
know,
stuff that's in the food, and like everyone's geared towards eating like sugars and chips and everything. So I feel like that affects your mind.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can even tell the garbage I pick up is mostly like fast food,
Yep, that's true.
blunt wrappers.
And just the fact that they're throwing it down on the ground in the first
Yeah,
place.
and there'll be garbage cans everywhere.
Right.
You know, I see
Although
it
I
all the
did
time.
notice they're overflowing over there, but
They haven't picked them up in over a week. I actually bring the can. I'm about to go up there to see if the can's probably filled up there. I've been bringing the can down.
oh,
So if it's
Oh,
not
up
me
there,
doing it, there's
yeah.
no can up there. Then people just throw the garbage in the same spot where the can used to be. It's crazy, you know.
Well, I
You can't say
appreciate your
anything.
work.
You can't say anything. You just
No.
go with it. Hey, good morning. I met a lot of people. I meet a lot of people every day. You know, my family's owned the house right here for 80 years.
Oh wow.
So it's like, you know, my grandmother walks
You're,
in the park.
you're,
You know what I mean?
you're old Bridgeport.
Yeah. So I was gone for like 12 years, not far, but I'm just recently back over here. So
Yeah.
when my grandmother walks through the park, she always says, "Oh, it's so dirty." So a few years ago, I started coming every day.
I've lived in Canaryville over 30 years, but I'm a newcomer.
That's where I lived in Canaryville too.
Yeah.
Was
So-
it Paul?
Jeff.
Jeff. Sorry.
Last name's Reiman. I used to run help run the ME Youth Center.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with
Yeah,
that.
Union right there.
Yeah. But,
I know one of my old tenants. What's her name? Her parents are over there. I mean, he's always doing something in the church over there.
McLaughlin or
I forget his name.
Lyra,
Lara. Alina?
Charlene. Oh, Elena.
Elena.
Elena's her daughter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was my tenant before.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so I asked this question of a lot of people, that question of, you know, like, how do you figure out which religion is the right one?
Yeah.
That's very common. It's a good question, I feel, you know. You think there's any answers to it? Like, do you think, because from a distance,
Yeah.
all religions basically say if you live a good life now, you'll have a better life to come. Well, the details are different.
Right.
But when you get up close, that's when they're actually contradictory. They're not just different from each other; they actually contradict each other.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say, "Well, it's like this hill here. There's a lot of different paths up the hill, right?"
Right.
But
Which one are you gonna take?
which one you're going to take? But if they contradict each other, they're not the same hill, you know.
Yeah.
So then we
True.
have to ask, well, what version of God is the same? You know, like what do
Yeah.
they have in common? How are they different?
Me personally, the way I'm living right now is, you know, I haven't gone to church. I haven't gone to church like Sundays, you know, a while.
Yeah.
But I just try to do good things, and hopefully good things happen back to me and people that are around me.
Yeah.
And when it's my time off this earth or wherever we go, you know, it's just I want to
Yeah.
make the most of it and hopefully leave an imprint. Or
I wanna challenge you a little bit, okay? So there's this idea that, okay, I'm sure you wouldn't say you're a perfect person.
of course not.
So like, should our good outweigh our bad? Or, you know, that's where a lot of people are at with it, you know, this balance scale. I hope all the good I do outweighs the bad.
Well, I've definitely done bad in life, no doubt.
Yeah.
You know, so
And almost everybody that I've met thinks that, well, yeah, I've done some bad, but well, look at all the good, right? So everyone thinks the good is outweighing the bad. But here's the problem with it. The bad things we do, we know better. We have a moral conscience, so we shouldn't do them, but we do them anyway, right?
temptation.
Now the good things we do, we know we should do them, and sometimes we do them and sometimes we don't, right? Sometimes we neglect to do the good we ought to do. So the Bible actually says when you don't do the good you ought to do, that too is sin, is what it calls it, right?
Yeah.
That word ought to me tells me God expects us to do good. It's not.
True.
It's not that. Okay, I've done some good. Now, God, you owe me. So I can't use the good that I ought to do to pay for the bad that I ought not to do, right?
Yeah, true.
So now I actually believe I'm morally bankrupt. In other words, if it's like a balance scale, I can't pay the debt that I owe, having rebelled against God and done many things I ought not to do. I've told lies, I've stolen in my life, I've coveted things, like
Yeah.
Ten Commandments on down the line, I've broken them all, right? So then the question is, well, how could I have a right relationship with God when I am in such debt? And the question wouldn't be on Judgment Day at the end of my life that I'll get some kind of reward, because I don't deserve a reward for doing the things I ought to have done anyway, because I have done some good things, I would deserve to be punished. And that's hard, and all the different religions, what they have in common is they do, they all at least the major, I think all of them really have some sort of a moral system, like an ethical system. So, and everybody's trying to solve that problem of, okay, I'm not a perfect person, how can I make up for it? Well, jump through these religious hoops, or do good, or atheists want to say they're good without God, they do good anyway, regardless of religion. So all of us are trying to, prove to ourselves, maybe at least, that we're good people. But really, in the final analysis, what does God say? And so I look at something like the Ten Commandments, and I say, you know what? I have broken every single one of them in some way or another. Even like murder, the Bible says, Jesus said, even if you have anger towards your brother and you call him a fool, you're in danger of the fire of hell. It's like, whoa, okay, I've tried to, gotten in some arguments and called people bad names, So am I guilty or innocent?
One thing, like as I said, as you get older, though, you start learning more about religion. It's like, you see a lot in the media and everything, how everything gets skewed around, and the winners write the stories.
Oh, yeah.
So, at the end of the day, at one point, it's a man writing these books. It's another man that's just like you and I. So it's like.
Well, even that, like when I read the Bible, there's about 40 different authors, so it's not just one man. And much of it, especially the Old Testament, is about the history of Israel, because it's like God chose one nation through whom the Messiah would come.
Right.
And
But even
predict.
Okay, like even Easter, the sun, like Jesus rises from the dead, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that is it a euphemism, or is it like I don't know, is it
like a metaphor?
A metaphor for the spring equinox and the sun rising?
Oh, I
It's
think Christians, church people throughout history have placed it in certain times. Well, actually, it coincides with the Jewish Passover, so that's why it's different every year. So it doesn't coincide. But Christmas, they purposely placed it at almost the darkest night of the year.
Now, did you ever hear that Jesus' birthday is really in September?
And for most of Christianity, they didn't even celebrate Christmas. Like it wasn't, that big.
It came from
but
Germany.
And so a lot of church history, they've taken like local customs and kind of like said, like even the church I go to on Halloween, they have what's called a harvest party, right? So it's like, okay, we got all these people on the street. We're not going to stop them from being on the street, and acting like devils or whatever, dressing up. Let's take that energy and kind of use it in a positive way. And so they, so I, on a larger scale, churches throughout history have done that. And some have gotten in trouble over it because they've kind of like watered down the message,
I just, like I said, I was always raised Catholic and in the church, but as I get older, I just question more and more. As I was younger, because I would hear some of the stuff in school. I remember being younger. I can't point out to like a specific story.
Oh, yeah.
But I was like, come on,
Well,
like,
there's so much stuff we're just like flipping through, like say on social media or whatever, the internet, and we come across so many different things. So I really try to encourage people, check most people's opinions of the Bible, I find in these conversations, is based on other people's opinions of the Bible.
Right.
And what other people say about it. And so I say, well, just read it for yourself.
Exactly.
So,
which is something I can honestly say I've never done, cover to cover
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm actually on I started about 2 weeks ago. I started an app. There's Bible apps and there's plans where I flip through. I read 10 chapters a day, and I think some of them, like in the New Testament, I think they repeat some of them. But anyway, it takes me like half an hour, and I will be through the Bible, the whole Bible, in 8 months, which isn't bad,
Yeah. Check it out.
But yeah,
It was really nice talking to you, Jeff.
yeah. I'll give you my card. You can see what other
for
people
sure.
have said. So.
And let me ask you. So you're right here at New Life Church.